Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino. Every time I do a video on Naughty Dog, YouTube suppresses it. Now you may go,
stop the cap.
but I'm serious. My very first video, the first video I did on this channel was after The Last of Us Part 2 came out. I did a compilation video of different streamers reacting negatively to the most objectionable moments in The Last of Us Part 2. And especially, there was a lot of women there because I wanted to kind of make a point of they treated people who criticized the game and didn't like the game, were angry about what happened in that game. They treated them as, racists and homophobes and sexists and whatnot. But there was a lot of women who hated that stuff too, because players who loved the first game bonded with Ellie and Joel. So the only reason why I was interested in playing a part 2, like everybody said, Druckmann said it himself, the game didn't really need a part 2. But if you're going to go back to it, then you're going to go back for Ellie and Joel. You're not going back for the world of The Last of Us. Like, I don't care about what other people were doing in that world. It's just a zombie apocalypse. There's nothing special about it. I mean, they have different types of zombies, but I don't care about anybody else's story. And it's proven when you play as Abby and you say ignore the fact that she is the one who killed Joel and how hideous she looks. It still doesn't matter. Like, I didn't care about playing as this character. I didn't care about the stupid, petty squabbles that was going on, the petty love triangle, all that dumb stuff. But I think what happened is, so when my video was released, that first one, it started out really well. And I think I got up to like 300 something views very quickly. And all of a sudden they stopped and then started to slowly trickle in. I got comments, a bunch of different comments, people, complimenting the video and agreeing that Druckmann really screwed the pooch on the game. A lot of those comments were just either deleted or hidden. Ridiculous. I don't know why they didn't say anything objectionable because I saw a lot of them before they disappeared. And I think what YouTube did after the way the leaks were covered and all the DMC takedowns and then the anger from a lot of YouTubers about it, Naughty Dog was able to use that to pretend that there was this whole environment of harassment and hate speech and whatnot. And I think they looked at my title, the coward, Druckmann, and treated it as hate speech. And so they just suppressed it. They knew it was BS to just take it off the, channel, but they just suppressed it quietly. And, it sucks because clearly the title is a riff on the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. I just was seeing how much power and influence Naughty Dog has and the way that Druckmann uses it. He does this weird passive aggressive thing. It's hard to nail down. He's like one of the perfect cancel pigs. He uses an aura of art and pretension to act like what he's doing is morally good. That being an artist is more important than being a game director, and that games as art is so fundamentally intrinsic and important to the health of the gaming industry. So he's like, we don't make games that are meant to be fun, which is absurd. People play games because they are fun. You can have different levels of connections with these different properties, but they should be fun. There should be a reason why you go to it and want to come back to it. I believe the entire kind of, I hate to say aura, but there's this negative energy that is treated like it's positive around Druckmann and Naughty Dog. But they've had a terrible effect on the industry, especially if you just look at the Sony's first party studios. You look at what God of War became in the Santa Monica when they did the reboot. First game I think was great. There was already signs of it though there. And it's even worse in Ragnarok, which is one of the worst AAA games I've ever played, alongside Last of Us Part 2. In a lot of ways, there's character assassination going on in that game. Kratos acts like Atreus' mom. He's a god of war, but he's constantly crying and whining about protecting Atreus and not wanting him to get mixed up in Ragnarok. And it doesn't make sense. I truly hate that game, even though I played a lot of it. And, there's good stuff in the gameplay, story-wise, and the message is there. Of course, you got Angra Boda. You got that moment, I don't know if I've ever mentioned that moment where Freya, who just looks hideous. I don't know why she's so filthy and dirty, but she's completely dirty. She doesn't look good. She looks so raggedy. This is a woman, and they don't make her look attractive. But she's sitting there instigating a fight with Kratos at one point where she says something like, oh, you want to give it a try? You want to fight me and see who would win? And Kratos is like, no. And she's like, yeah, I bet you don't. It's like, have you seen what this dude has done? Like, get out of here. She's not on his level. I mentioned this in another video where some ghost spirit was talking about Laufey and how she had this great battle with Thor. And it was like he never saw anybody fight Thor like that. It's like, get the Lao Fei would be pregnant at the end of that fight, and the fight would only last a couple of minutes. So get out of here with this. But no, she's like the most amazing, strongest warrior who had made the most dazzling strikes against the great god Thor and all this stuff. Get out of here, But whatever. So God of War is affected by Naughty Dog. Horizon Forbidden West. They uglified her. They uglified everybody else in the game. They made her boring and dull and unappealing. I'm talking about Aloy. Insomniac. Spider-Man 2. And I'm going to get into this soon in other videos, but 2 more videos, I think. Spider-Man 2 is Naughty Dog's legacy. It's a terrible game. And the message in it and the way in which things are done, how they take the main character and they shit on him in favor of the woman and the little black kid and all this stuff. It's very pernicious. And that's had a terrible effect on sales. And of course, the Factions game was canceled. I know they're canceling live services, which has less to do with woke stuff and more to do with people don't want this stuff anymore. It's crap. They don't put a lot of attention into it, and people have wised up to that. But also, I knew when I saw the promo poster for Factions, I was like, come on. Once again, the SJW mascot, the Cancel Pig mascot, the strong black woman. Now, who is looking at that poster and going, oh yeah, this looks good. I want to play as her. Nobody. Black women are not looking at that character saying they want to play as her. And they don't do it because it's about diversity and inclusion. They don't do it for black women to see themselves and say they could be strong women in the game too. No, they do it to mess with white men. Straight white men are the only gamers they care about. They want their money, but they also want to put them in their place for some insane reason. So they keep shoving black women down all of our throats. I don't know if anybody at any of these studios has what it takes to turn things around. Naughty Dog is working on 2 new games. I don't know if one's Last of Us Part 3. I dare them. I said this in another video. I dare them to make Last of Us Part 3. They can say what they want about Last of Us Part 2 being a huge success. I don't believe it. There's no way you could tell me that was truly a success for them. As long as Druckmann is at the helm, I don't trust anything that they produce. They've already remade or remastered The Last of Us like 5 times. And then they're already remastering Part 2. It just came out 3 years ago, and it was already a technical marvel. I don't know what Druckmann did to those people, but he drove a lot of people off because of the work they had to put into The Last of Us Part 2 as it is. With that in mind, I don't see the people that they've replaced with. Just looking at The Last of Us remaster, how terrible everybody looked, how awful the PC port was, at least at first. I just don't trust them. And of course, the entire ethos around Naughty Dog, we're not making games for fun. We're making art and important experiences. He's so pretentious. He's been able to get away with it because of the success of Uncharted and the first Last of Us game. But I think over time, people are going to realize this guy has nothing to offer. But again, just look at the effect Naughty Dog's whole persona and attitude has had on Santa Monica and Guerrilla Games and Insomniac. They essentially destroyed Ben Studios because it's ridiculous. You look at Days Gone. Days Gone did well, and it was well regarded by anyone who actually played the game. And for them to just cancel it instead of saying, okay, we're going to build on this success, just build on this new series. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Druckmann didn't go to Sony and be like, well, we already have an Apocalypse franchise. Days Gone is too similar to The Last of Us. I mean, hell, Deacon's wife is even named Sarah. So it'd probably be better if we use these talented people to help us. We've lost a lot of people. Maybe we can bring them and make them a part of Naughty Dog now. I wouldn't be surprised if he did something like that. I'm basically just saying Ben Studios has been reduced to Naughty Dog's pack mules at this point. And I just think it's funny overall. Again, Naughty Dog has had a terrible effect on Sony and their first party studios. And it's one of those things that people can decry it all they want to. People can be like, dismiss you and say, oh, you're just anti-woke and anti-SJW. Of course I am. This stuff isn't good. And all you have to do is look at all the IPs that have been destroyed because of this. I know that the Last of Us franchise is dead. It may be doing fine on television, on HBO, but if you look at what Disney has done to superhero films and done to Star Wars, Marvel and DC Comics, there's so many IPs. You look at Amazon and how they've ruined Lord of the Rings. They don't have success with Lord of the Rings property. You look at Hasbro having to lay off all these people and Dungeons and Dragons. All of this stuff is failing. And the one constant is this woke shit. It's this woke agenda that everybody says they don't want. You attack these people as being racist and homophobes and how important it is for people to see themselves. Yet nobody's interested in it. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's playing this shit. That's the constant though, in everything. At a certain point, somebody has to stop and recognize that. Yeah, they said they don't like it. Let's just not do it. You heard that guy, Brian Entity. Yeah, we got the feedback that people didn't like the MJ sections, but we decided that we're not going to take the easy route and just do what the customer wants. We're going to insist to keep on doing it. So this is their mentality. This is their stupid attitude. The thing is, it's easy to just give people what they want. And they have talented people at all these studios that can give them great gameplay, good looking, cool characters, all that stuff. They just don't want to do it because they've hired the dumbest people to run this stuff. Right? I look at somebody like Druckmann. He had his original idea for The Last of Us altered so that the whole Tess revenge quest was taken out, which makes perfect sense. And I think what happened is, besides wanting to get back at, was it Staley or Straley, the guy who shot that idea down for the first game, I think he also saw or played this game, Lisa. Was it Lisa the Painful and Lisa the Joyful? I just played that game a couple of months ago. Lisa the Definitive Collection is a great game, an indie game, which has similar elements to The Last of Us. It's an apocalyptic world, but instead of zombies, it's a world without women. But this guy, Brad, who's, essentially Joel, finds this little girl, little baby, and he calls her Buddy to hide the fact that she is a girl. And I feel like Druckmann must have saw that and thought about his first idea for The Last of Us and how this felt more raw. If you play Lisa, you'll see what I mean. I don't want to get into it too much, but I'm sure he thought, yeah, this is more true to what Joel's motivations were in his so-called wanting to protect Ellie or whatever. And so he makes The Last of Us Part 2 as sort of an indictment, not just on Joel, but on fans of the original in some way. I mean, I know he knows people genuinely love that first game, and I'm sure he really likes it too, but I feel like he thought there was something more artistic about the way Lisa did it and the way he wanted to do it to begin with. But it's stupid. You have to make certain compromises, especially for something that's supposed to be big, AAA, popular, that you spend $300-something million on. You don't go out of your way to antagonize fans and then attack them for not liking it. And if he's going to keep doubling and tripling down like he seems like he's going to do, more diminishing returns. Sony better wise up. I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, we're going to stop this live service games because nobody wants it. But it's another to let these studios go the same route that Naughty Dog is doing. If Naughty Dog really did make that argument I'm saying they made to stop any more Days Gones being made because the theme was too similar, Sony should really look at these other studios and say, look, stupid, we already have Naughty Dog doing this pretentious, narrative-driven bullshit with all this message crap in it. Vary it up, all right? Do something different. If you're making a Spider-Man game, make it about fucking Peter Parker, not Mary Jane Watson. Stop shitting on Peter Parker. He's the one that people want to play as. If you make a God of War game, make him the goddamn God of War, not Atreus' mom. Put sexy women in it, because that's what God of War is about. It's like this Conan the Barbarian type thing about it that is just gone since you're following Naughty Dog's playbook. Horizon. I didn't even like Forbidden West that much. The gameplay was fine, but I hate how they kept constantly nerfing her and nerfing all her skills and equipment. That's something that, well, I'll never buy another Horizon game. Not just for how ugly they made her or how ugly the other people are or how boring she is. And it's a matriarchal society just getting on my nerves at this point. But the fact that they are constantly nerfing her and her gear. But anyway, that's enough of this. I wanted to talk some more about Naughty Dog, even though I'm pretty sure YouTube's going to suppress this video as well.